Tonight, Ryerson University is officially changing its name.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. We got what we wanted.
The board of directors votes in favor of making the change following concerns over the man the school was named after and his links to Canada's residential school system. Plus,
it's getting worse day by day.
Chaos in Afghanistan. Bombing attacks outside Kabul's airport leaves dozens dead as Canada halts evacuations despite many still pleading to get out. And
our top priority in getting people back into school is to keep them safe.
The province's largest school board is making vaccines mandatory for all staff. TDSB trustees voting unanimously for the new rule will have reaction from parents and teachers. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. We begin in Afghanistan where dozens of people are dead after suicide bombers struck near the Kabul airport. Afghan civilians were killed along with a number of U.S. soldiers. No Canadian forces were injured. U.S. President Joe Biden had tough words for those behind today's attacks. He vowed the U.S. would hunt down those responsible and make them pay. And he said he would not stop the mission.
These ISIS terrorists will not win. We will rescue the Americans in there. We will get our Afghan allies out, and our mission will go on. America will not be intimidated, and I have the utmost confidence in our brave service members who continue to execute this mission with courage and honor to save lives and get Americans, our partners, our Afghan allies out of Afghanistan.
I am asking that we do the right thing, suspend our campaign so that we can all concentrate our attention on where it should be, which is figuring out how we can rescue those that have been left behind in Afghanistan.
Back at home, Green Party leader Annamie Paul wants the federal election campaign temporarily suspended. She says all party leaders need to turn their attention to Afghanistan and work together. She called the end of Canada's evacuation efforts a national shame and says the situation in Afghanistan was foreseeable and could have been avoided if Canada had responded in a timely manner. Now, there are still many Canadians desperate to get out of Afghanistan, and getting home is looking less and less likely now that Canada has ended its airlift mission. Our Talia Ricci talked to two people from Ontario who are still desperately hoping to get out.
Desperate, hopeless, and I do feel angry.
That's how this Ontario woman felt when she learned she wouldn't be boarding a plane to come home anytime soon. CBC News agreed to protect the identities of those we spoke to today because they fear retribution from the Taliban.
I have stayed inside. I don't know if you can hear the gunfires. It's still on.
An email sent to Canadians in Afghanistan shared with CBC News from Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada says, at this time, no further evacuation flights are being planned and recognize there are still a number of Canadians there.
We wish we could have stayed longer and rescued everyone who was so desperate to leave. That we could not is truly heartbreaking.
This woman is one of those left behind. She's currently hiding.
It's getting worse day by day. And here, there was an explosion at the airport happening today. So we live close by the airport.
In the last few days, videos showed chaotic and dangerous scenes at that airport as thousands attempted to flee the country. Now, Global Affairs Canada recommends Canadian citizens and permanent residents in Afghanistan shelter in a safe place, adding they don't know how or when operations will resume at the airport, but a primary focus is to figure out how many people are left behind and continue to support them. This woman is holding on to hopeful text messages from family back home.
They tell me like positive things, like everything will be okay, you'll be fine.
We're all confused and we don't know what to do next.
After making several attempts, this man from Toronto says he didn't make it on one of the evacuation flights with his wife and 5 kids. He's trying to put on a brave face for his family while they hide.
We've been telling our kids not to go outside because kids they want to go outside and play, so we've been telling them not to go outside.
Have they been asking you what's going on?
Yesterday, when we went to Baron Hotel, so we were all exhausted, and I told them, my little kid, he's 6 years old, I told them it was a picnic.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
After a year of increasing calls to change its name, Ryerson University has voted to do just that. A board of governors accepted all 22 recommendations by a task force to remove Egerton Ryerson's name from the university. Now, he is widely considered as one of the architects of Canada's residential school system. Our Jessica Ng has more.
Today, the Standing Strong Task Force presented its final report to the university's board of directors. Standing Strong, otherwise known as Maskawika Puan, have been developing their own ideas through research and community consultation since December 2022. And all of their 22 recommendations have been approved by the board. That includes a name change for the university, and that's welcome news for students.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. We got what we wanted.
Métis grad student Sam Howden says they're thrilled Ryerson University has committed to changing its name.
We really do need to continue to put the pressure on the institution itself to not try and distance itself from this history, but take true accountability for it and be very transparent.
Like Howden, some staff and students have been calling the school X-University. There's been growing pressure on the institution to change its name in recent years, coming to a head in recent months amid a reckoning with the history of residential schools.
The university is losing opportunities, is losing students, is losing faculty, losing great possibilities. It no longer works for us to use that name that did work very well in the past.
Egerton Ryerson is widely considered an architect of the residential school system. The Standing Strong Task Force has been examining his legacy.
His involvement shifted and changed. So there wasn't a persecution of him, more of a really thorough understanding of the actual impact that he had.
Joanne Dallaire is an elder and an Indigenous relations advisor to the school.
There's no way that you could read this report and not see that just the truth to it, the common sense to it, and the importance of the work that the report is recommending to be done.
Other recommendations include sharing educational materials about the historic figure's history and providing more opportunities to learn about Indigenous history and Indigenous colonial relations.
I'm delighted. I think these are the recommendations that reflect the values of the university and also the aspirations of the community.
In June, the Egerton Ryerson statue was toppled by protesters and beheaded amidst discovery of unmarked grave sites on the grounds of former residential schools across the country. The new name change is just the latest in a series of changes. The university's School of Journalism announced 2 student publications, including the Ryersonian, will be renamed before the upcoming school year. In May, the university's law school was renamed after Lincoln Alexander, Canada's first Black MP and federal cabinet minister. Some on campus, though, have mixed feelings.
I have a nice Ryerson sweatshirt that I bought her when she accepted and she can't wear.
I'd rather keep the name Ryerson because it's just like, I've been used to hearing it so much that if it's changed, it's like changing something special.
For Howden, that change is just the beginning.
And, you know, beyond the name, like, we really do need to see some action to better support Indigenous students, staff, faculty members.
Now, to give you an idea of what a full name change will actually cost the school, in 2015, they did a rebrand just to update font and colors on posters. That alone cost $200,000. And the school has until January 2022 to figure out a plan for this new name change. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
Pressure is building on the province to have a proof of vaccination system. If not, more medical officers of health say they're exploring a local option. That's as businesses set to require vaccination keep growing. And Peel Region saying today they will be requiring vaccinations for all city workers. Lorinda Redekop has the latest.
Some people downtown today seem to like the idea of adding a proof of vaccination certificate.
I'd be okay with it. I think this is the future. We're heading in that direction where sort of our health passport is going to be attached to us everywhere we go.
The owners of this restaurant and bar also want something put in place to ensure they can stay open with cases rising.
It is a no-brainer. It's a home run. It needs to happen. The fact that it hasn't happened to this point is frustrating.
Today, the mayor of Mississauga had a strong message to the province.
The government of Ontario needs to immediately implement a province-wide proof of vaccination program.
Peel's medical officer is already looking into creating a local or regional version as a backup.
We're asking the Premier to please give this some serious consideration. It is coming, whatever format it may take, whether it's going to be delivered by the public officers of health or not, it should be delivered by the province.
All Ontario's medical officers spoke about the issue yesterday. Some are looking into a regional version.
You can imagine that if we do it and Ottawa doesn't and vice versa, it can be patchwork it's not right. If we were to do it locally, I would want to do it with a big region.
The health units in those specific regions could pool together to do this. So there is significant momentum here, but I would prefer that we continue to advocate and for the government to do it for us.
A spokesperson for the Health Ministry recommends people download a PDF of their vaccination receipt. Some say it's not as easy and secure as a QR code. The Premier last spoke about this in mid-July.
The answer is no. We aren't going to do it. We aren't going to have a split society.
Premier, welcome to Big Grassy First Nation.
He's been in Northern Ontario tweeting but not addressing this issue. He hasn't held a news conference since July 30th. As case counts continue to rise, we're expecting new projections from the province's science advisory table next week, which could add even more pressure on Doug Ford to change his stance. Loretta Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's largest school board is making the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory. The Toronto District School Board has voted unanimously to make the shot mandatory in schools for staff, trustees, and visitors. The board is now in the process of finalizing those plans and how it will deal with those who choose not to get the shot. Our Greg Ross has those details.
Their top priority in getting people back into school is to keep them safe.
TDSB Chair Alex Brown says he doesn't expect they'll be the last to make vaccines mandatory.
In passing this motion last night at our board, other boards have taken an interest.
Trustees with the TDSB voted unanimously in favor of making vaccines mandatory, and they've received support from the teachers' unions as well.
We do support this motion, assuming that there are appropriate protections for all of our members in place in terms of those members who may be unable to receive the vaccine for medical accommodation and that.
The details are still being worked out. Who might be exempt from vaccination and what type of punishment is appropriate for those who refuse is still under consideration.
Part of this motion or this direction that we've given Director Russell Rollins is to explore that.
The news was welcomed by many parents today.
Do you feel safer as a parent that the people that are going to be teaching your kids will be vaccinated?
Absolutely. Yeah, it gives me much better peace of mind.
I'm absolutely all for it. We got to protect the unvaccinated.
Personally, I would prefer it if the teachers were vaccinated because I presume that would eventually lead to an assurance that the schools would remain open.
The school board says this is just the beginning. The next step is to send a letter to provincial health officials and ministers to ask them to add the COVID-19 vaccine to the compulsory list of vaccinations for eligible students.
We fully support this. We think that you need to start to move on that issue as well.
Where students are eligible for the vaccine, we do also believe that it is important that be part of a program to ensure the safety for all of our members.
The teachers' union would also like to see the province set up vaccination clinics in schools and surrounding neighborhoods to encourage kids who are over the age of 12 to get vaccinated. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Meteorologist Nick Cernkovich joins us now with the first look at the forecast. And Nick, still hot and humid and some pretty heavy thunderstorms earlier today as well.
Well, Kelda, the story has been the temperatures throughout the week. We also had some pretty big thunderstorms moving through the GTA today, those being fueled by the heat and humidity that's been building over the last 6-7 days. Now, this afternoon we had temperatures that were up to 31 degrees with the Humidex, though. It felt like 40, gives you an idea of just how muggy that weather was today. Thunderstorms had passed through tonight, a little calmer. We've got partly cloudy skies through the overnight period. Tomorrow, especially down in southwestern Ontario, we're looking at triggering off some showers. Should stay dry around the Golden Horseshoe, though, into Saturday. I do think we're going to pick up some spotty showers across the Golden Horseshoe as well. We'll get to that in your long-range forecast. For now, though, here's a look at the next 21 degrees as we head through the overnight period tonight. Humidex of 26. High tomorrow of 26, humidex of 32. Call it a little bit of relief. Your full forecast in just a bit.
Thanks, Nick. Multiple buildings in Wheatley, about an hour southeast of Windsor, have been decimated after an explosion.
Just rocked the building. The ceiling started coming down.
2 buildings have been reduced to rubble. 3 people were sent to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Firefighters were on scene after gas was detected shortly after 4:30. 3 gas leaks have been reported in the area in recent weeks. People have been asked to evacuate. A Scarborough man has been arrested for the January 19th double murder of 2 women in Fort Erie. Niagara Regional Police say 22-year-old Christopher Lucas has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He's accused in the fatal shootings of 20-year-old Juliana Panunzio of Windsor and 18-year-old Christine Crooks of Toronto. The accused was scheduled to make a court appearance by video link in St. Catharines today. Your money was a key theme for day 12 of the federal election campaign. Conservative Party leader Erin O'Toole promised a new program to support workers in the so-called gig economy.
Our plan will require companies with gig economy workers to make contributions equivalent to CPP and EI premiums into a new portable employee savings account every time they pay their workers.
In Ottawa, he says the money in the employee savings account will be allowed to grow tax-free and can be accessed by workers when needed.
We will commit to solving this housing crisis, making sure first-time homebuyers get the help they need to buy their first home, to make sure we get big money out of housing, and make sure we invest in building more homes within people's budgets.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh expanded on his party's housing policies. He says an NDP government will double the tax credit to first-time buyers and convert it into a rebate.
After a lifetime of hard work, you shouldn't have to worry about how to make the rent or fill a prescription.
And Liberal leader Justin Trudeau is pledging more money for seniors. He says his government will permanently increase the guaranteed income supplement by $500 per year for single seniors and $750 per year for senior couples. Well, it's mostly clear tonight. Will become partly cloudy overnight. Currently, it's 26 degrees in downtown Toronto, feeling more like 33. All right, let's go back to Nick now with a look at your extended forecast. And Nick, a heat warning still in place, but we will finally see some relief tomorrow.
Well, Calda, I finally had the opportunity to change our weather headlines from basically just the heat and humidity, but with it comes some showers and maybe some thunderstorms as we head into the weekend. There's a look at your weather headlines. Some relief for tomorrow. This is now moved up in our headlines. But the weekend heat actually returns. We're going to see humidex values approaching 40 again by Sunday. And we've got some weekend showers to talk about as well. In terms of the precipitation, as we move through the next 24 hours, looking at partly cloudy skies in the GTA tomorrow afternoon. Same story. Now, down in southwestern Ontario, we're going to trigger off some thunderstorms, but I don't think those are going to get to the GTA tomorrow. Saturday, however, different story. It's not showing up on this model, but I think we'll see some morning showers Saturday, a bit of a break, and then into the afternoon. I think we're going to trigger off some more afternoon showers and thunderstorms, which are just kind of starting to get picked up on that model. Same story into Sunday as well. I think we're going to see some afternoon thunderstorms. For southwestern Ontario tonight, temperatures in the low 20s again. We've got humidex values in the mid-20s tomorrow. Humidex values in southwestern Ontario approaching the 40 mark, pretty close to it. Highs about 30 degrees and isolated thunder showers in southwestern Ontario. For the Golden Horseshoe, tonight partly cloudy skies, temperatures at 20 degrees. Overnight humidex of 26, a little better than what we had last night. Tomorrow, look for a high of 26 degrees in the GTA. Mix of sun and cloud, generally speaking. Humidex of 32, so there's that little bit of relief that we're seeing there. As we move into the long-range forecast, though, some showers on Saturday, high to 29 degrees. Saturday and Sunday, though, we're going to see humidex values in the mid to high 30s, especially on Sunday. It starts to break down, though, as we move through Monday and Tuesday in particular, and then it looks like we'll have a longer stretch of sort of cooler or more seasonal temperatures. Kelda.
Thanks, Nick. Finally tonight, when you see a skunk, your first instinct might be to run away. But that's not the case for one quick-thinking Burlington teen.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, now let's dump him out of the net. I don't think he can fit through, so just try to. Okay, let him go. Good job, Pope.
Sir Stinky is free.
That's Sophie Wilson, a 16-year-old aspiring veterinarian. She saw a skunk in need of help and jumped to the rescue. Luckily, she didn't get sprayed.
Grabbing it was going to be like really tricky because they're really squirmy, especially when they're little, and I didn't want to get, bit or scratched. The towel was just kind of to make sure, like, if it sprayed, it didn't go all over me. I've always loved animals. So like when I see one that's like hurt and I can do something about it, I just feel like I need to do something about it. Like I can't just let it be when it needs help.
Sophie has saved 2 skunks in the last week, helping to free them from pieces of garbage they've gotten themselves trapped in. And here you can see her victory dance. And that is our show for tonight. Have a great night.